YouTube. So I am going to tell my labor and delivery story today. I do not want to edit this video, so I'm just going to try to remember all the details and film it and post it without having to edit anything. So please bear with me. So I found out that I was pregnant with my first baby, my son, in May of 2021. And before I had taken my pregnancy test, I hadn't had my period for over a month, and I knew that something was off. I kind of had a feeling that I was pregnant just because I am very regular with my period, and when it didn't come in over a month, that was very, very strange for me. So I was also getting this lower back pain anytime I would stand for too long. So if I was cooking in the kitchen or washing dishes or just like standing for an extended period of time, I would get this weird like lower back pain. So I was like, okay, that's not normal either. So I was dreading taking the pregnancy test, but I was like, you know what, you have to take it. You have to find out what's going on. So I went to the dollar store and I bought 2 pregnancy tests, the old-fashioned ones. I went home, I immediately, took both the tests at the same time. I put them down on the counter, and before the few minutes were up, 2 red lines appeared, and I knew that I was pregnant. And I freaked out. I totally had a meltdown. I started hysterically crying. I told my boyfriend at the time, who's now my fiance, that I was pregnant, and he was happy, honestly, because he's like, I'm ready to be a dad. From the day I met him, he literally told me, he's like, I want to have my first baby by the time I turn 30. And when I found out I was pregnant, he was 28. So he's like, whatever decision you make, I support you. If you don't want to have this baby, it's fine. But if you do, just know that, I'll be happy and I'll always, stick by your side and I'll help you through everything. So he was very supportive in that way, which I'm very thankful for. So, long story short, I did end up keeping my baby. Obviously, I'm now a mom. My son was born in December 17th, which was actually 2 days after my fiance's birthday, because his birthday is December 15th. So my pregnancy was amazing. Like, when I tell you, I didn't even feel like pregnant. I didn't feel uncomfortable up until the very end of my pregnancy. I used to eat, I slept, I literally had like no pregnancy symptoms. I didn't throw up. I didn't feel nauseous, which I am very, very thankful for. I actually didn't even look pregnant up until probably like my last trimester, because I've always been a bigger girl. So I really like hid my stomach very well. And so, praise God for that. So my baby was very good to me. I also really used to be concerned during my pregnancy just because I didn't feel him a lot in my stomach. Like, I know people would say oh, they feel their baby kicking them, and not for nothing, I used to feel like a couple of kicks here and there, but they were never super strong, and they were very sporadic. Like, I would go days without feeling my baby kick. So I obviously used to go to the doctor and stuff. So my OBGYN, he told me, he was like, oh, as long as you feel him kick and as long as, the ultrasounds are good, don't worry or whatever. But I really barely used to feel him move inside my stomach. So I don't know if that's just me, but yeah, that kind of used to freak me out a little bit. But anyways, thank God he's here, he's healthy. But yeah, so I want to tell, I actually didn't even go into labor. I actually was induced. So I was due to have my baby on December 28th, but I had him on the 17th. On the 15th, which is the day of my boyfriend's birthday, I had an appointment scheduled for a regular checkup. I went to go see my OBGYN, and they actually told me that I was losing fluid around my baby, like in my uterus or my sac. I was losing fluid. So they told me, they're like, we recommend that you deliver your baby because it's not safe for him to be in your stomach when you're losing fluid. And also, I just want to say, I knew the whole time I was pregnant that I was having a baby boy. I don't know why. I actually didn't find out the sex of my baby until maybe 20 weeks, just because I wasn't really pressed to find out whether I was having a boy or a girl, just because I had a feeling that it was a boy. So when I found out I was having a boy, I was very, very happy. My sister was actually pregnant as well. We got pregnant around the same time. Our sons are 6 weeks apart. She has a baby boy as well. So it was really, really fun, exciting to find out that we were having the same sex baby. So anyways, back to what I was saying. So I got induced. I went into the hospital on December 15th, the day of my boyfriend's birthday, and we didn't even get to celebrate because we were told to go straight to the hospital, eat something, pack everything, and go to the hospital. So that's what we did. It took a while for us to get a bed and everything, and when I finally got my bed, what happened? Oh yeah, so after I got my bed, what did they do? They put the balloon inside of me to get me going, basically. And so that was like mildly uncomfortable. But why did I think the worst part of being in the hospital was literally when they strapped that the baby monitor to your stomach, and the fact that I couldn't move and lay down or move about. Like, I just thought that was like the most uncomfortable part of like being in labor and being induced, just having to have that like baby monitor on you, because I had such a hard time sleeping on my back. I always sleep on my stomach or on my side, so that was very, very difficult for me. I also wanted to add that I also tested positive for GBS, which is just like a bacteria that women can have inside of them. It doesn't affect the woman, but when you give birth, it can be passed to the baby. So they do test you for it and treat you for it if you do have it. It's just something like that. They pass through your IV to like treat you for it. They also gave me magnesium to help like relax my body and stuff. It made me like, very groggy, and also like, hard to like walk and move around, like off balance basically. So I don't remember how many centimeters and stuff I got to after they had given me the balloon, but I know that in total I was in labor for 2 days. So the balloon basically got me far enough so that they could give me Pitocin, which then made my contractions really strong. Honestly, my contractions were like super painful. I heard that when you're induced, your contractions are more painful than if you were to like give birth naturally. But obviously I've never had like a natural birth. This is my one and only son, so I can't compare my labor pains to anything other than what I went through. I just know that I was like in a lot of pain. I was weak, I was exhausted. I couldn't eat anything. They just told me I could have like fluids and stuff, so I had like soda, ginger ale, ices, water, stuff like that. And not for nothing, I really wasn't focused on food because I was in so much pain and I was so tired. Like, the only thing I wanted to do was just like sleep the whole time I was there, because I was in labor for 48 hours, which is that's pretty rough. So yeah, after they had given me the Pitocin, within 24 hours my son had come out. I did get an epidural that they put in, obviously through my back or whatever. Honestly, that was very like, it was like kind of uncomfortable for me because I had a hard time like staying bent over when they were like sticking the needle up my back. So that was kind of painful. But after I got the epidural, it made like a world of a difference for me. So yeah, my son, what do I have anything else to say? Yeah, basically my son was born after me being in labor for 2 days, me being induced, and me like basically suffering for just like hours on end. When I was pushing, I didn't have to push very, very much, just because I really like gave my all during my pushes. I remember one of the nurses that was holding my legs up were telling me like, make your pushes count, because then you'll have to push less. So I just like envisioned my son, my baby, coming out of me, and I just like gave everything I could. And my son came out healthy. He was born on December 17th at 5:54 p.m. He was 8 pounds 8 ounces. My boyfriend was there by my side. He even held my leg up while I was pushing, so he was very involved. Yeah, he was healthy. He's healthy, and now he is 6 months old, almost 6 months old. June 17th, he'll be officially 6 months, but he is 24 weeks already. And so that's pretty much my story. I'm trying to think if I forgot anything. Honestly, my labor was just like, my labor and my delivery was just like a huge blur, just because I was so exhausted and I was on so many medications that a lot of it I don't remember, but I will insert some pictures. I guess I will edit this video because I do want to insert some pictures of my baby after he was born. And yeah, I look crazy in these pictures. I look like a crackhead in these pictures because I'm so exhausted. I'm so swollen. I have so much fluid in my body. And oh my god, when I tell you, my postpartum was probably like the worst ever. Like, oh, and I actually tore when I had my son. I totally forgot to mention that. I ended up tearing, and they literally sewed me up right there, right after my son came out, which was honestly just awful. I hated it. Like, it was the cringiest, most painful thing. And I was like in so much pain. I was telling my boyfriend to like put his head like next to mine just because I was like going like that. And the nurses were like, what's the problem? Like, you know, you're like on drugs. Like, do you not feel relief? And I'm just like, no, I feel like I felt a lot of it. Like, I literally felt the needle going in and out of me. So that was pretty awful. And then postpartum, it was rough. Like, as soon as I got home, I had so much trouble relaxing. I was like so hyped up. I was having terrible dreams. My stitches, thank God they healed well, but they were very, very painful. Like, every single time I would be in the car, every bump would hurt down there. I would sit down, it would hurt. I would stand up, it would hurt. I would roll over in bed and try to sleep, it would hurt. Like, the only thing that helped me was the ibuprofen they gave me and the Tylenol. I had to just like balance those two out because they refused to give me like hardcore drugs after I had my baby, even though I was in so much pain. They gave me like, you know, stuff to clean down there and everything, but that whole area was just like so sore, so sensitive. And that was honestly like the worst part of having my son, just the postpartum, just the pain from tearing. I feel like if I didn't tear, not saying that, you know, things would be like easy peasy, but they would definitely be easier because just that pain from like having to heal from that tear, you know. I had to put ice down there. It was just a lot. And also I didn't breastfeed, so my boobs were like engorged with milk, and I had to just suffer and wait for them to harden and go down on their own. And so sometimes when I would like lay back and like try to sleep, yeah, my camera just keeps cutting out because I have like no memory on this phone. I've literally used up like all my gigabyte. But as I was saying, whenever I would lay down and try to sleep, I just felt like I couldn't breathe, like to the point where I was like, maybe I should go to the emergency room because I thought something was genuinely wrong with me because of how hard my boobs are. But turns out that's normal. I would just like ice them and stuff, and everything eventually like went away, and my boobs eventually stopped leaking milk. But yeah, it probably took like a month for me to start feeling okay after having my baby. I was also so swollen. Like, it took weeks for my legs and my calves and my ankles and stuff for the swelling to go away. So that was pretty rough. But when I had went for my 6-week appointment after having the baby, they had checked my stitches and they cleared everything. They said I healed well, which thank God I didn't get any infections or anything. I made sure I took care of my incision really well. So yeah, it's crazy how much us women sacrifice and give, because all through that suffering I had to take care of a newborn baby, and I was barely sleeping and barely taking care of you know, my home and other things. But anyways, that was my labor and delivery story, and I kind of told you guys a little bit of what happened postpartum. Yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, let me know. Leave a comment down below, leave a like, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye. Can I just also say that one morning I woke up and my nose had grown like 3 times the size, and it stayed that way until after I had my baby. Like, I did not sign up for all that.